I want to talk about the last match. We know Greed is going to be the pay-per-view. It's the last significant WCW show in history. There's going to be about 5,000 fans. And what's so interesting and ironic, the last WCW pay-per-view is in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a movie
I'm
sometimes.
telling you.
It's so crazy. But we've talked about this match before. As a reminder, it's a kiss my ass match. We're going to see a bunch of vignettes that will go throughout the pay-per-view to talk about how Dusty's been eating a whole bunch of bean burritos because he's getting ready for you to kiss his ass. And even Wade says he was disappointed there wasn't a flatulence spot, that he felt like the match needed a campy spot like that. I know that in an alternate universe, you would have liked to have had, Dusty from 1981, not 2021 or 2001. I'll get it out. It was campy. I mean, you got Ric Flair, as you said, wrestling in a Hawaiian shirt and slacks and dress shoes, as you see. But man, what an opportunity to be in there with all those legends. When you look back at that now with the benefit of hindsight, what do you think about having that opportunity in Jacksonville on pay-per-view? What a star-studded affair.
Well, and that's a great shot there for my world YouTube fans. Dusty's about to back up and do the Rikishi. But just the going back to the word, not coincidence, the convergence. I mean, okay, Jacksonville, we wouldn't have thought about that anything when it happened, but what would it be 18 years later that the genesis of the next iteration of organization that's going to be on TBS and TNT? I'll say the seeds were planted in the city of Jacksonville, but more than that, to have those guys in the pay-per-view and the showbiz. But I'll say this, to be in the ring, and this is there's this time frame, but on a pay-per-view, to be in the ring with a baby face like Dusty that didn't have to punch, didn't have to kick, didn't have to do anything except his mannerisms in the people stand. There is such there's a lesson in that, but there's a reality in that what the wrestling fan pays to see, if that makes sense. That yes, that they want to come see all kinds of things, and you can say, oh, it's a different era, and then I'm going to say, well, maybe not. But being in the ring, and look, I'd been that with Rick multiple times, and there's different folks through all kinds of generations. But Dusty, that kind of babyface who had not really been on TV as a performer. Gosh, Conrad, how long had it been since he had been a performer, not a color commentator analyst? I mean, years, right? I mean, it's got to be. But I just remember going, okay, this guy's so super over. It was a lot of fun. The whole program was fun.
As crazy as it sounds, Jeff, I saw Dusty, I think, in 2000 in ECW. Isn't that crazy? 2000. Him and Steve Carino. I was at the
oh, wow.
What's the name of that building in Atlanta? The Tabernacle. You ever been there?
Yep.
Man, what a cool venue that is.
Yeah.
So the king of old school comes out with Jack Victory, and Steve Carino starts talking a little trash. He starts talking trash to Dusty Rhodes, who was in the crowd wearing a ball cap, a flannel button up, and a Cleveland Browns white t-shirt, jeans, and cowboy boots. Slides in. Everybody gets the big elbow. People went bananas in Atlanta. It was awesome.
But before that, when had he been? That's ECW,
94. I mean, I think he was in a tag match once after the whole Steiner twist, maybe.
Okay.
But I think 94 was like the end of his, and that was in WCW. He was working for WCW.
That's what I'm saying. So the Attitude Era hadn't really, this is
new for Dusty. Yeah.
Man. And that's why I was, and I knew, I knew, but actually being in the ring and watching his charisma look out across the crowd and look at Rick and do different things, you just go, okay, we haven't even come close to doing anything of substance and he has them in the palm of his hand. That's when a guy, you go, okay, he's over.
The next night on Nitro, this is where they bring out the donkey and it says Dusty's ass on it. And the whole show is based around kissing his ass. And this isn't exactly the last Nitro, but they are talking about it's going to be the end of the season. But you see Dusty bringing out the donkey there where they've written Dusty's ass on the back. Silly fun. Any memories of this episode of Nitro?
Well, imagine this. There was a lot of moving parts this day. We're changing this, we're changing that. How are we going to get to this spot? How are we going to do this spot? We knew the end result, but how we were going to get there, I think. And again, we've kind of referenced this. This is Gainesville, correct, Conrad?
Yeah, Gainesville on March 12th.
And then we go to Panama City the next week, correct?
Two weeks after is the last Nitro.
So like the not just the buzz, the vibe. Yeah, we had to go produce Nitro, but there was a lot of uneasiness. Like, what's really going on? We knew, we know. So, but then you still got to go produce a Nitro and a Thunder. I think the same night. It was crazy. But so I don't have what I remember is backstage, 1,000 Chiefs and me and Dustin were probably two of a few Indians.
Let's we know that what's going to happen. It's going to be the end of WCW and that's it. And we've talked about the formation and the creation of TNA. And we referenced, the last time you were in the Von Braun Civic Center where you're going to run your first TNA show. You're in the Dusty costume. Now you're going to come back, run your first TNA show. Dusty's not on the show. Now, I don't expect Dusty to come out there and be a part of the Battle Royal and get in there and mix it up and wrestle with too, which I'm sure he could have because he did years later, even for WWE. But he wasn't even a part of the Legends contingent where we had Ricky Steamboat and we had Jackie Fargo and we had Bob Armstrong. Ricky Steamboat was kind of from the mainstream. He was one of your top guys. But man, if you had Dusty there with the 10 pounds of gold, the original belt, that would have been amazing. Why didn't it happen? Was there residual hard feelings, do you think, between your dad and Dusty, or was there more to it than that?
If I remember the best I can remember, I'll say the residual might have played somewhat into it, but if you kind of look at those legends, but the centerpiece was just what you said, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, NWA World Champion, and the brand was total nonstop action. Dusty was known for talking, not working. And
I got you.
So if I remember correctly, and look, it could have been more of a JArrett influence. I really don't think so. I think it was more of budget, but we're going to put our eggs in the Steamboat basket because when time came, it was, hey man, the NWA lineage and this and that. And he makes maybe, if I had to say in year one of TNA, your favorite line ever. So no, Dusty was not ever, hey, we don't want to bring him in. It was total nonstop action mentality.
It's just weird to me with the benefit of hindsight. And I know that I'm a belt nerd and nobody cares, but you've got the 10 pounds of gold. And when I think of that belt, yes, I think of Ric Flair a little bit, but for some reason I do think of Dusty. And obviously I think of Terry Funk and Dory and so many other great legends who held that title. Harley, goodness gracious. But even when Steamboat was the NWA champion, he was using the big gold belt. And I don't know. I think it's interesting that you've got all these other legends like
Dory and Harley.
Yes, but you've also got, to be clear, Jackie Fargo and Bob Armstrong and Bill Behrens. And there are lots of other Sarah Lee. There's lots of other talent. And I don't know. I would have loved to have seen Dusty there.
Oh, me too. But his price tag wasn't cheap either.
There we go. Okay, that's what I was getting to. Do you think Dusty priced himself out based on he didn't really want to do it? A little get back for JArrett? Maybe leverage with WWE? If you try to get into the mind of a wrestler, because we've all known guys who have, hey, here's my price, but then I'll give you a hookup price, but over here, maybe not so much. When you're trying to wrap your head around wrestler mentality of why Dusty may not have made that shot, could you pinpoint maybe this or that?
Because I had the conversations over and over and over with guys. You have to really go back now that, I'll call it FITE days and a couple of the different streamers. The words pay-per-view had a lot of cachet in the late 90s and early 2000s. When you hear, hey, we're doing this big pay-per-view on wrestling over in Huntsville, where y'all running? At the Ron Rollins Civic Center. Who you got on there? Oh, we're probably going to have Hall, and we're going to have Ken Shamrock, and Toby's going to sing the opener. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll make it for 10. Well, that's really not the role we had. Well, that's okay. If you want me, let me know. That's my price tag. Okay. Now, I'm not positive we had that conversation or even got down that road, but that was, that was the mindset.
Yeah, listen, when I was putting together StarCast and whatnot, I had several of those conversations, and not all of them are super easy. You remember one out on the West Coast, I was trying to land a big fish, and it was just a crazy number, and it's like, hey, Jeff, can you help me? And we both struck out. It is what it is.
Yes.
That's going to do it for Dusty Rhodes today. We are going to do another episode in the future when we talk about Dusty Rhodes in TNA, because he does make the jump to come work with the company, but it's not June of 02. It's January of 03.